One of the things that I have learned throughout years of scrapbooking was to not focus just on the big moments, not just on the vacations, the holidays, and the birthdays, but to really focus and tell the story of your everyday moments, because those are what tell you who you are.
The story of our kids becoming who they are becoming is here. The story of us pursuing things, of us chasing things, of us sometimes not getting the things we wanted is here. Of us sometimes getting things that we didn't even know we would want or expect.
So it's in those moments that I try and make the most special, and in the connections that I have with my kids. I want them not to remember just our Disney World trip. I want them to remember Saturday morning breakfast. I want them to remember watching TV together, or folding laundry, or just laughing together.
And it becomes more about just the affirmation of presence, to be in the same place at the same time, to be comfortable with each other enough that even to just sit in silence, just to be present with one another and to be totally comfortable with that. My wife Christy and I have 4 kids, 17 and 15-year-old daughters.
And we have twin 12-year-old boys. So we're right on that cusp of having all teenagers. We've lived in our house for almost 10 years.
Our kitchen is our biggest headache, our biggest obstacle, because it's a little bit removed. It's a little bit, when you're in the kitchen is where you feel the most disconnected from the rest of the family. Well, I think what happens is when you're sacrificing family time to do dishes or to clean up or whatever the case might be, what you wind up doing is you put it off. And you procrastinate it knowing I can get to it later. Well, we all know what it's like to have a mountain of dishes, and as it grows, you know you're committing more and more time to doing it, and so you procrastinate it more and more to the point where you're just like, okay, I don't even want to go to my kitchen. I hate my kitchen because it isn't conducive to, I can still be with my family and take care of cleaning up or whatever needs to be done. To have a kitchen that is more integrated and more connected, because we find now we spend so much time in the kitchen.
I mean, a family of 6, there's a lot, and there are times where we've been almost on top of each other, and other times where we've been able to spread out to have our own quiet times. But I love being together, and it's really funny because there are times where we're sitting or watching TV, and all of a sudden one kid will come in and sit, and then another kid will come in and sit, and I'll look around and go, wow, we're all in the same room together. This almost never happens, but I love it. Something over here and being claustrophobic, but being able to be over there and still having space, but being able to spend time together. This is fun. So much of what I want this house to feel is joy. So many times we have to choose joy, and I love that my home inherently makes me joyful.
For us, those ideas of peacefulness, those ideas of safety are super important, and that even comes across in it's safe to try out different things. It's safe to test the boundaries of who you are, of what you believe, and to try out and test stuff and figure out if it's for you or if it's not is super important for us.
Home to me is the place that I recharge from a long day at work, from a long week, from the bad things that go on out in the world. I can come back here and I know that I am safe. I know that I can be at peace and really just sit in quietness, and it is my sanctuary.
So for me, a home is all about a place that's safe, a place that you run to when you're troubled, when you're facing something difficult. And I think because of that, a home is also the place where you grow the most.
We will laugh for sometimes hours, and it's in those things that I hopefully my kids remember that we were happy here, that this was our happy place.
There are times where you're being stretched, there's times where you're being challenged, and you can be challenged and be in a very destructive context that leads to nothing but pain and hurt. Or you can find a place, and this is what we've always wanted our home to be, you can find a place where, because it's safe, because you don't have to be afraid, because you don't have to fear whatever you might be facing, that you can grow through that. That you are now given the freedom, you're given the environment in which that growth can actually take place, in which that growth can maybe happen best. You're creating a nurturing environment. You're creating an environment that has every like basic building block that you would need to become more fully the person that you were created to be.